morning, Glue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, if you celebrated. And if not, then I hope you had a wonderful Thursday. So I was last night sitting here at the computer, decided, you know what, I'd like to build a little model while I'm just plowing around on YouTube, having fun on the internet. And I picked this little Airfix OO scale Esso tank car. And I had built one of these little Airfix OO cars before. It's on the shelf in the Tarbis. And I was like, you know, these are pretty interesting little kits. Something to do while I'm here. I mean, it's a real build. It's a lot of finicky little parts, but it's not so complicated. I can't do it in a single sitting. So I set up my little workstation, and while I was looking for something to watch, I found Frankie was doing a live stream with the build of a 1/32 scale Henkel 111 by Revell. I figured that's a perfect thing to watch while I'm just sitting here building my model, and he's building his. And I made a couple of comments, but overall focused on my model. Now, the overall review of this kit is it will give you a nice kit when you're done, but it's an older kit, and there are definitely a lot of issues with it. First off, a fair amount of flash had to be taken off. Also, everything's black on black, which even with the OptiVisor directly under the lamp, it was a little tricky to see where I was supposed to put things. But my biggest complaint was the instruction sheet, which is basically 3 exploded diagrams. It's easy to get things backwards. I'm not sure, but I think I have the tank car actually the wrong way on the chassis, but it looked right when I was doing it. And although a lot of the things do have mounting holes, some of them don't. Some of the fits weren't that great, especially with the hatch on the top. I really had to bore that out. And the other thing that I ran into was the diagrams just don't show exactly where everything goes or how it's supposed to go. Am I supposed to be drilling a hole here or looking for one, or is it a butt joint? I finally got a reasonable representation of the car done, and some parts like the walkways on top are very easy, but then you just put the ladder wherever because there's no alignment holes for it. There were no alignment pins on the chassis or the front and rear, so apparently at this point in time Airfix had some sort of religious aversion to alignment pins, but you know, not the end of the universe. I mean, we're modelers, we can handle that. But when I was done, thumbprint aside, you know, marking my territory, I was pretty happy with it. I have it on the shelf now, and I'll probably take it out of the shed later and sand it down and give it a coat of paint and put some sort of personalized markings on it. Unfortunately, the decals were no good, and they are, I'm pretty sure, beyond salvation. But I could still have a lot of fun with it, do whatever I want. You know, make it what you want it to be. But it was a fun little build. Frankie, I look forward to seeing that Henkel 111 when it's done. It's looking really good. And that was kind of how I spent my evening, modeling and watching YouTube. Ah, the world we live in. And of course, these 00 scale Airfix rail cars were a gift to me by a glue trooper, and thank you very much. And speaking of glue troopers and what they're up to, a while back, one of them sent me this picture. He's working on a pair of Concords from 2 different manufacturers. I forget, they might have been Aurora and Revell, but either way, he just set them on the desk and they look like that. And he sent me a picture. He goes, "What do you think? A twin boom SST?" And I'm like, absolutely. That begs to be a kit bash. I think that's cool. One final note before I go was I decided to drag out the old DJI Spark, maybe get some drone footage with the new shed. And unfortunately, I haven't flown it in 4, maybe 5 years. And you don't just let these kinds of batteries sit that long. They'll go into hibernation mode, which is tough enough to get them out of hibernation mode, but I let them try to charge all night. And apparently they are bricked. That's a phrase that means basically they're toast. I did see some YouTube videos on unlocking them, but you have to buy a little computer chip and get a power supply and do all this other stuff in hopes of setting them up. The general consensus is if the batteries have been in storage that long, 2, 3, 4 years without being cycled every few months, then they're toast. It's about $50 plus for replacement battery. So, I mean, it's a $300 drone. I guess I'll get a replacement battery, but that was a bummer. But if that's what you're calling problems in life, then hey, you're doing okay. And by the way, I stumbled onto an old telephone of mine. It's actually the one that was replaced not that long ago, my old Galaxy 9. And I found a bunch of old photos on it. And I can use it as a spare camera. The Wi-Fi on it still works. It just can't make a phone call. But, well, that's great. It's always handy to have an extra camera around. And it can even use the Wi-Fi so I can listen to music on it. So that's cool. There's something to do with your old cell phones. But I found these old pictures. I thought you guys might get a giggle out of some of them. Okay, guys, well, that's it for this morning. We'll talk at you later. Take care of yourself, and as always, model on.